heard me say this quite a few times in 2020, but I have some sad news to report, and that is the passing of one of the greatest legends in the history of football. I don't usually talk about football, but when one of these historic figures pass, I feel obligated to report this. Chicago Bears legend Gale Sayers, largely considered one of the greatest running backs of all time, died today at the age of 77. The Pro Football Hall of Fame announced. Hall of Fame President and CEO Dave Baker issued a statement confirming Sayers' passing. The cause of death was not given. However, his family did announce 3 years ago that he was battling dementia, that he had been diagnosed with dementia back in 2013. In fact, there was an article that was released earlier this year talking about his dementia and how it had progressed to the point where he pretty much did not know who he was, had no memories, and the toll it was taking on his family. Sayers had a relatively short career, but dominated in his 7 seasons with the Bears, easily solidifying his place in NFL history. You know, to me, Gale Sayers is probably still a top 10 all-time running back. His lack of longevity does hurt him, but to those who watched him play, there are very, very few running backs that can uh, compare to his speed and elusiveness, uh, quickness. He was beauty. He wasn't an Eldon Campbell. He wasn't a Jerome Bettis. He wasn't a big bruising running back. He was, more akin to Barry Sanders, a lot lighter. His game was elusiveness, and had he played maybe in today's era, more modern era where they have advanced surgeries, rehabilitation, treatments, these players take care of themselves better. They're more obligated financially to take care of themselves much better than before. Who knows what type of career Gale Sayers would have had? Maybe GOAT status. But he was drafted in the first round of the 1965 draft. Sayers had an immediate impact on the field. He was named the NFL Rookie of the Year after totaling 22 touchdowns and 132 points, both records at the time. Sayers was named to 4 Pro Bowls, where he was named Offensive Player of the Game 3 times. He was selected first team All Pro 5 times and was named NFL Comeback Player of the Year in 1969 after tearing both his ACL and MCL in his right knee. Further injuries proved too much to overcome for Gale Sayers, and retired after the 1971 season. He finished his career with 4,956 rushing yards, 39 touchdowns, and an average of 5 yards per carry, among the highest of all time. Sayers became the youngest player ever inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1977 at just 34 years old at the time. Sayers was named to the 1960s All-Decade Team, the NFL 50th Anniversary All-Time Team, the NFL 75th All-Time Team Anniversary Team, and the NFL 100th Anniversary All-Time Team. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell issued a statement today saying the NFL family lost a true friend today with the passing of Gale Sayers. Gale was one of the finest men in NFL history, one of the game's most exciting players. I'll say this too to end. Um, there was a movie that came out, I think around 1971, somewhere around that time period. It was called Brian's Song, and that movie talked about the real life relationship between Gale Sayers and a fellow player on the Chicago Bears. I think his name was Brian Piccolo. And the movie was called Brian's Song. And in that movie, Gale Sayers was portrayed by Billy D. Williams, and Brian Piccolo, I believe, was portrayed by a pre-Godfather James Caan, if I'm not mistaken. And I think Brian Piccolo died of leukemia. And it talked about their friendship. And, you know, it's a nice movie. You know what I'm saying? If you don't like old movies, you wouldn't like it. But if you like acting, you like you know movies like that. You could I suggest you maybe watch it. It was a decent movie. But once again, Gale Sayers passed away at the age of 77.